Hello, and welcome to this webinar. This webinar is designed to help you get your company back on track. So many things we've delegated to so many people. They're all just kind of sometimes just sitting out there, except they're the huge projects. What I want to do is show you how to pull all those delegated work back together so that when you're working with people, they know where they are, they know where you are. Just really 5 simple habits we're going to talk about today. My name is Mike Scott. Founded a company 35 years ago called Totally Accountable Systems. And the whole purpose for this process is to help people and inspire people to keep their word. There are 3 goals for you today. One of them is to actually look at how we keep track of delegated work and not forget what we should do. So if it's delegated to us, great. If we delegated to somebody, how we don't lose track of that. Second thing is how to understand the importance of tracking work to completion. I heard an expression years ago. It says, what isn't tracked doesn't get done. And that's what's so important. I don't want you to micromanage things. I just want you to be on top of things. And I want the people you report to and people you report to you, how to give them an idea of how to stay on top of things. And as we go through, we're going to talk about how to get overwhelmed by all of your delegated work. I mean, if you just think over the last week, how much work's been delegated to you and how much work you've delegated to other people, where is that? A lot of us, it's sitting right in our head, and we hope we remember it all. Remember, Einstein said, don't try to remember anything. That's not what the mind's for. The mind is designed for much bigger things than trying to remember things. It says use your tools. I'll show you some tools you can use today. And of course, one of the tools you can use is my book called You Can Count on Me. And I tell you what, here's what I would say when you buy that book, put that book right on your desk. So you put your reputation out there called You Can Count on Me. So this whole idea of feeling overwhelmed, oh my gosh, I've got so much stuff to do. I've got so many things people delegated to me. I've got so many things I asked other people to do. Can't even attempt to remember. Don't do it. Use your tools. Use your system. Remember this, when the mind gets overwhelmed, it just shuts down. When the mind shuts down, it goes off and does anything else, or it just flat does nothing. And I can't afford to have it, and you can't afford to have that happening either. And remember, here's what Henry Ford said. I said this a little bit earlier. What doesn't get tracked doesn't get done. So my recommendation here is an action step. Keep track of all your delegated work, all the work you delegate to somebody else, all the work that's delegated to you. My recommendation is keep it all in one location. I mean, I watched a guy the other day go through, and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going through my emails. I said, what are you doing that for? He said, I'm trying to figure out what to do next. And I said, your tasks are in, and your projects are all in your emails? Well, he says, a lot of them are, but there are a lot of places. And all that pieces of paper, they're all on that. He had tasks and projects everywhere. I'm saying get it all in one location. Then you can get to it in a moment's notice. So keep track of your delegated work. And I say the characteristics, of whatever system or software that you're going to actually use to keep track of delegated work should have some categories or some characteristics that you can be able to sort by. One of the things is, of course, the title of the delegated work. And that way you can sort it alphabetically if you want to. Second thing is have the name of the person that you delegate to or the person that someone delegated work from to you, who delegated from. So the to and from are good categories to have. The third one is have a category for business and personal. And that way you can separate it out and you don't get overwhelmed by your business work or your personal work and it's all mingled. Keep it separate. Also, I look at strategic work versus tactical work. Now, tactical work is the work that keeps the company going, kind of like payroll. And strategic work would be some of the marketing concepts that you have. They're much bigger than that. They're the ones that build the company. They actually build a company. Also, keep track of an agreed on due date and due time for the work. So whatever you delegate to somebody, you've heard me say this before, make sure you've got a date and time for completion. Make sure it's agreed on by both of you. And if it doesn't have a due date, due time, don't even delegate to them. It just fills them up with work they shouldn't have to worry about. So as we look at that, those are the pieces that I want to take a look at. And what I believe is we should be able to sort that work by any of those categories. When we start sorting by those categories, now we've got some control. And as we go on, I'll show you why those categories become important. A couple of apps that I could recommend to start sorting this. Asana might be one. Trello might be another. Microsoft Tasks would be a good one. Another one could be Google Tasks. Anything's going to be able to take that work and give you a way to be able to put categories so that you can sort it. And of course, Microsoft Excel or Google Numbers, either one of those can give you that control as well. So take some time, experiment with this, find out what works for you. One app isn't going to be perfect for anybody. Start practicing. Take a few tasks, put them in. So to go along here, I recommend what you do is you download one of the simple apps that I've just shown and then start working with it. You may find one of those apps just doesn't work for you. So pick another app. Let's take a little experimentation because you're really getting control of your life, business life, and your personal life. Then when I say create sortable sections for each of those. Remember I said we have due date on there, the task itself. To whom did you delegate? From whom was it delegated? Create a personal category and a business category, a strategic and tactical, so you start separating that work out from each other. I say take a few minutes, get every piece of paper you have, every note that you have, every piece of task that you have anywhere, and get all those tasks and projects into one location. Everything you've delegated to somebody, get it into one location. Everything that's been delegated to you, get it all into one location. But the key here is to have it all together. Otherwise, we start going, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Oh, it was over there. Don't do that to yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself because the first thing that'll happen is you're going to actually forget. And then practice sorting by the category so you're comfortable with it. So once you get a few tasks in, maybe take 10 tasks and just put them in there. Make sure the app's working for you and then put all the tasks in there. Every time you delegate to somebody, every time somebody delegates to you, every time you even think of something you want to do, put it in there. At least it's sitting out there. You may not have a date on it. That's fine. At least you didn't lose the thought. Remember, Einstein used his paper cuffs. And whenever he thought of something, he said, I don't want to lose that thought because it came to me for a reason. He would put it on his cuff and then they'd put it into a category, just a general category that wasn't delegated to anybody, didn't have any date on it, just didn't want to lose the thought. So here's what I recommend it, is that every day before you leave work, go to what I call the SPA, the strategic planning appointment. And what this is, do this about 30 minutes before you leave work. Pull all your tasks up, all your projects up, and then sort them the way you need to have them sorted for you. Eventually sort them by due date so that you look at what's due tomorrow strategically, what's due tactically, and actually plan your day. And when you start planning your day, what starts happening is you get some control on it. And Einstein always said, plan your day the night before so that your mind has time to be able to work on it. So many people come in to work and they start planning. First thing in the morning, they start planning, and then they get interrupted, and pretty soon they're the victim of the day. Don't do it. Plan your day the night before. Actually, what I would suggest doing, set an appointment for yourself about 30 minutes before you normally leave work for your SPA time. It's just planning time for the next day. Watch how this starts to change your life. And then sort your tasks, of course, by business first, and then by strategic, and then by due date. And then you can see exactly what's sitting out there for you to do tomorrow to move your work along. Otherwise, you just stay busy all the time. Very powerful piece. The other thing I say talk about is conduct legally one-to-one meetings with the people that report to you. And here's the thing. If you and they are sorting your work like you're talking about and we're talking about today, what'll happen is they'll be able to come into you and show you the priorities on their work. They'll be able to not just talk about it, but they'll show you, and you realize they're not going to forget anything because it's sitting right there. One-to-one meetings with your direct reports, what it's going to do is going to give you the information you need about where they are with the work that you delegated to them. And that's what's important, is you don't want anybody forgetting anything. You don't want anything getting overwhelmed. And you may look at some of the work that they've got planned out for tomorrow, and you say, next week on your one-to-one, you say, whoa, that's just not as important as this is just important. But you're looking at their work that's out there as opposed to trying to do it all from memory. And that's what so many people do. So what happens is everything stays on course. You never lose sight of the delegated work that you gave to somebody, and nor are you surprised by non-performance, because if something's not going to happen, you're going to spot it. I mean, think about this. When SpaceX shoots a rocket from the Earth to the space station, they track it, they touch it, touch it, touch it. And the reason they do that is because if it's off course, they've got to get it on course. If it's on course, they leave it alone. Very, very important to touch, touch, touch. When you start touching the work of other people that have an organizational system similar to yours, now you find out nobody forgets anything and you know where everybody is. No surprises. The action step, I say, is conduct a weekly one-to-one meeting with your boss. Conduct a weekly one-to-one meeting with everybody that reports to you. And it's just a little 5, 10 minute, 15-minute meeting. It doesn't take very long. And you can even do it a virtual meeting. You don't have to come and see each other to do that. Now, if you want to, you certainly can, and you can do more than that if you want to in that one-to-one meeting. But my belief is the one-to-one meeting is designed to have you track delegated work so nothing falls through the cracks. And when you do this same thing with your boss, now you're keeping your boss up to date on what's going on, and your boss gets a chance to see that you got your act together and you're not trying to remember anything, you're not going to forget anything. And then, of course, like I said, everything stays on course. That's what you want to do. You don't lose sight of work that you've delegated. You don't lose sight of work that's been delegated to you. Now you're really working as a team. Now, I know this is a lot of information. Just to recap what we did today, we talked about how to track delegated work, how to keep track of it. Use some apps, use some software, whatever works for you, and just start slowly. Don't try to do this too fast. Second thing is how to understand the importance of tracking work. And what we looked is you don't lose track of anything. You never lose anything. You never say to somebody, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. And the beauty is you stay up to date on where you are. You keep your boss up to date. People that work for you keep you up to date where everything is. And you're not saying to people, hey, how's everything going? Oh, it's going real good. You haven't got anything. You got an opinion. Let me show you exactly where it is. And of course, this is how you keep from getting overwhelmed by all the work that has to be done. Because we delegate so much work and it just comes to us, we delegate it, we forget about it. I don't want anybody forgetting about it at all. So as we go through today, remember you got some tools. You've got the book. I told you about it. It's called You Can Count on Me. I would download that book and take a look at how that's all done. It's in there. The other thing is monitor your surprises. Somebody doesn't keep their word. Monitor that, get them back on track so you don't have to have that problem happening again. And secondly, track your positive surprises. If somebody does a good job, what you do is you actually give them kudos for it. You acknowledge them for it. Very important. Training workshops. We have a training workshop every 2 or 3 months out there. It's just a short little training workshop on how to build the totally accountable workplace. You can have me come and actually do the training at your location. We can have one of my trainers come and do the training at your location. We're building the whole training library of all these pieces we're putting together. That'll be coming. We'll keep you informed. You're getting emails on it, the virtual training workshops. And of course, there's an online public workshop. We do this so that people will get a couple of hours of accountability training. You can put new people into that you've gotten since the last training in. You can keep yourself up to date on this training. The next one that we have is April 21st, 2023. It'll be from 2 o'clock East Coast time to 4 o'clock East Coast time. And just watch your email for this. So I hope you get some information out of what we talked about today. I want this to work for you. I really want this to be a part of your life so that you never have to worry about forgetting anything, business or personal. Good luck with what I did. If you have any questions, you can always email me at mike@totallyaccountable.com.